Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. It's Tuesday and today for the change we start with some good news to share. After that, we will speak about a possible tactical change. Do I believe that the tactical change can happen at Juventus? What are the alternatives to the 3-5-2 that we are playing until today? We'll speak a bit about Mercato and of course, as I predicted yesterday, we'll not speak about Juve Frosinone of Sunday, but we'll speak of course about the future of Max Allegri that is on the front pages of Tuttosport. So if you didn't yet, please put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you really want to support me as a content creator, don't forget I opened a second channel called Football. I will put the link here. You just click and you will be redirected during the video or after the video. Don't forget, it's nice. I already uploaded a video. If you want to be up to date with everything that's happening in the football world, well, go and watch. Then you decide if you like the channel or not. We start with the good news. We start with the birthday of Andrea Cambiaso. Look, I tell you, if we would have recorded that video end of January, probably would have been in a total other mood. And we would have said, look, there are some good news, a lot of good news this season. And one of the good news is Andrea Cambiaso. Now, of course, recording at the end of February, where we are in a total depression mood. And it's also totally correct because we didn't do well after last 4 disaster results. Well, we are trying to find also the negative things, but also some good things. And Andrea Cambiaso is one of the good things of this season. The player that surprised me the most. Yes, McKennie surprised me for his rebirth that I didn't believe he would have been able to do. But Cambiaso was a player that when he arrived at Juve, yes, good, nice, maybe it will be a sub, but I didn't really believe in it. Well, looking at the player that he is and his contribution already in 23-24, wow, what a player. Surprised me the most. He's able to play on the left, on the right, in the midfield. A player that, of course, I would love to see more specialists in one role, but the fact that he's able to do all these kind of things in one season, wow. He surprised me a lot this season. Not only on the field, because you know it, I had the luck really to meet him. I believe it was December, doing a live show together with him, meet him before, after speaking, doing selfies. Not only surprised me on the field, but also off the field for the extremely nice guy that he is. So I think that we found a player that I hope can stay at Juve for a really, really long time. What is the second good news? I told you we have news, not only one, but we have a few. Well, the second one is Huijsen. That was already on the front page when he went to Roma instead of Frosinone, where all of us Juventini, we were fearing that Jose Mourinho would enter in his head and make him fall in love more with him than with Juve, thinking and being scared that he could stay at Roma. After that, Jose left. We were changing our mood, being scared that he would not have received the playing time that he was promised. Well, with Daniele De Rossi is continuing to play. And also in a 4-man defense, which is not bad at all, especially if Juventus wants to go toward a 4-man in the back. Now, after his world goal, because he scored a fantastic goal, the fears are back. And what if Roma want to keep him? What if he will fall in love with the fantastic, beautiful environment? Because Stadio Olimpico, the atmosphere is great, the city is, the eternal city is great and fantastic. Calma. No, this can't happen. There were clear agreements with his family, with his entourage, with the player himself. You go on loan to Roma, and after your loan, you come back. You come back for the new season, 24-25, where you will be judged by Allegri or by another coach. We don't know yet, but the important thing is he will come back home showing the progression that he did in loan or on loan at Roma, fighting for or the first rotational player in that defense, or maybe even going and dreaming about a starting position, Huijsen. But the agreements are extremely clear. You come back and then we will test you if we want to give you a chance immediately at Juve or if you believe as well in Juve, because if not, then we will have to split roles. But if we go to that really bad last solution to sell the player, it will not be another year loan, it will be to cash in and not for peanuts, for a lot of money, especially with what the player is already showing. So the good news is Huijsen will not stay at Roma, will not be there for one more year on loan. He will come back at home at Juve, trying to prove himself, trying to stay there at Juventus, and worst case scenario, we cash in a lot of money. Now that we spoke about that, let's go to the dream of a lot of Juventini. seen on the field and not in the future. Now, immediately, Federico Chiesa, Yildiz and Dusan Vlahovic. We would have loved to see them even before, but a lot of problems, situations, moments were actually making that it was not possible. I already made a video last year and it didn't change a lot about the paradox Juve, where in defense it's better to play with 3, up front it's better to play with 3, where in the midfield it's better to play with 5. Still, that paradox has not been solved on the Mercato, and that's why we started the season with a 3-5-2. Chiesa, Vlahovic were doing extremely well in the beginning, then they disappeared. Physical problem here, physical problem there, not being able to perform here, not being able to perform there. And we had actually a big switch of players that were or peak or down, but never we had the opportunity to see all of them there. Kenan Yildiz was able to show himself and receiving also here the strips of you are possibly also a starter immediately from 23-24. Now that we have all these players, we would love to see them all together, hoping that Chiesa can be mentally and physically again really fast at 100%. Not yet the same player that he was before the injury, but at least 100% Chiesa. And Max Allegri is trying to do it. Do I believe it? That's the first big question. Yes, I believe. Why? Because against Udinese, disaster. Because against Verona, disaster. But in the second half, for portions of the games, we saw a 4-man defense and partially we saw the 3 of them together. Not long. And that's why I would love to see Max Allegri a bit more convinced when he's testing that situation in the second half. Not only we try 10 minutes, we try 15 minutes and we check what is happening, but we try and we persist, we continue, we persevere in that idea that we already trained, that we already tested in training session. Because if it was not tested, I can guarantee you that he would not have tried it twice in a row. Now, they need to continue to train, they need to continue to find an alternative to the 3-5-2. Not that the 3-5-2 is a problem, because before the Empoli red card, before that game with the 3-5-2, we were stick with Inter. Beautiful, not beautiful, whatever you want to, but in terms of productivity, in terms of points, we were there with that 3-5-2 that until that moment was actually the best one for the team. Now Juventus needs to wake up. They need to change. We tried with words, it didn't work. Now we tried with a meeting. Let's see what will be the consequences or what will be the changes after the meeting between Allegri and Giuntoli, between Allegri and the leaders, between the leaders and the player. But I believe that now another boost needs to happen with maybe also on the field a tactical change. The first thing that is super important is, can it happen already against Frosinone? Well, Danilo with his injury is complicated a bit the plans, because he was extremely crucial in that possible tactical change from that 3-5-2 towards the first solution, a 4-3-3, with the possibility to see Cambiaso on the right as a right back and Alexandro on the left as a left back. Yes, I'm saying Alexandro because Danilo is not there, because Alexandro already did it. So I know you will complain. I know you will not be happy. I know you will prefer Cambiaso on the left and Wea on the right side. But that's the first alternative, with Bremer and Gatti at 2 center defenders. Rabiot, Locatelli, McKennie in the middle. Up front, a Yildiz, Vlahovic and Chiesa. Rabiot to give protection to Yildiz. McKennie to give protection to Chiesa. And Locatelli to give and support also on the back, but not as much because there are already 4, but a bit more helping towards the front. Then there is another possibility with Alcaraz. Alcaraz, that we saw it, the two times that he went on the field, he played a bit more offensively, also because we had to win against or equalize against Inter or winning against Verona. Well, that other possibility is, like we said before, Cambiaso on the left, Wea on the right, Gatti and Bremer in the middle. I told you, Danilo is an important one, because I'm sure that and in one and in the other he would be a starter depending when he will come back. Rabiot, Locatelli has a double pivot in front of the defense, Chiesa, Alcaraz, McKennie, and then Vlahovic up front. Then you will tell me, Beppe, why don't we play with Chiesa on the right and Yildiz on the left? Well, to still try to keep that stability, with McKennie being able to go back to actually form a 4-3-3, and also Alcaraz giving a help, being actually a 4-4-2. You know, that's always how we work, paying attention to the double phase. Well, Alcaraz is growing, is starting really to show to Allegri that he can be a starter. Jalot, not yet, because he's coming back from an injury. The important, super important thing is that Bremer is back. After the suspension, he will be back against Frosinone. He will be there against Napoli, and we will be ready to lead the defense in the month of March. Tactical change, yes or no? Let me know what, according to you, would be the best one. And now we go to another news. La Gazzetta dello Sport is speaking about Champions League this evening with Inter playing against Atletico Madrid. Inter is strong. If you want to know what I said, I spoke about it on my football channel in the video of this morning, so go and watch what I said. On the other side, I'm really focusing on that small thing there in the right side of the page. Juve, Koop dice sì. Juventus Koopmeiners already said yes. Koopmeiners, first yes. The Dutch one is actually putting Juventus in his pole position, but pay attention to the offers from Premier League. Now, great, huh? Fantastic. Having the yes from Koopmeiners is great because he's the #1 target, was already in the winter, is still for the summer. A player like Koopmeiners that know the language, know the league, know what Juventus represents, is a player in the midfield that scored 9 goals. The same amount as all our midfielders together. 9 goals is what our midfielders totally, all of them scored. 9 goals is what Teun Koopmeiners already scored in Serie A this season. So he can bring goals, he can bring free kicks, he can bring way of playing. So it's everything is ideal. And if he says that, it's fantastic. Now, on the other side, calma, because I continue to read. If he would leave Atalanta, the first if, we are not sure, well, he wants to stay in Italy. If the offers are equal, he would give his priority to the old lady. If he leaves Atalanta, if the offers are equal, too many ifs, especially because we know that there were already some offers in the winter. Atalanta said, no, Premier League, if you want him, 60 million euro. Of course, you pay the Premier League tax. Atalanta is smart. But will that differ? Will that change a lot with Juventus asking a price? I'm not sure. So you go towards a 55 million euro. Money that Juventus do not have at the moment. Because we will speak about Allegri in a second. But I believe we totally forget something, and that's what I told you at the end of last year, when a lot of people were celebrating that plea deal. We said we forget about everything. Okay, we have a minus points, but at least we are not speaking anymore about the off-the-field topics. A lot of people were celebrating that it was over, and I told you, I am not celebrating. I am absolutely not celebrating because there will be huge consequences, and these consequences, in a few months, Juventini will forget about them. They will totally forget about them. And they will judge if we do well or if we do not. And if we do not, especially if we don't change coach, it will be a disaster. The environment will be toxic. Correctly, because we want Juventus to win. But we will never think again about the context, the why, forgetting about the fact that we were not able to play in Champions League, not doing Mercato, waiting for a decision about UEFA if we would play or not, waiting to understand if we had to loan out players or if we had to sign players. It was a really difficult moment. Just to tell you, the impact on the books is huge. Because we spoke about last year where Juventus is still in negative, was doing a bit better than the year before because of salary mass reduction, etc., etc. Well, with the fact that we are not participating in the already semester books, financial book that we were able to see, we already have a huge deficit. And that deficit linked to the impact of not playing European competition Champions League that we deserved on the field will go as high as 90 million euro. The impact of these plusvalenze that everyone was doing, but only Juve was punished for, was on our books a positive of 3.6%. 3.6%. The impact of not playing, of being punished, about the fee that we had to pay, is an impact around 25 and 30% on our books. It's a total disaster. Why am I telling you that? Because if people, they believe today in the fairy tale of Koopmeiners coming to Juve, that he already said yes, like last year, Gazzetta dello Sport said the guy McAllister from that is now at Liverpool, but from Brighton last year, wants Juve. probably we will hurt ourselves again, because we will again start to blame Giuntoli and Scannavino, and then by consequence also the coach, the team. And no, it's not okay. Look at the players that we are signing. Who is Alcaraz? Why are we not going for Koopmeiners or for Samardzic or for that player? We don't have at the moment the money. Also, next season will be a tough one in terms of transfer market. Of course, Scannavino, of course, Giuntoli will have to do their best to free up money. If we want to go for a Koopmeiners, well, a lot of things need to happen in order to do that. A big sale, Chiesa, Bremer, a lot of small sales, but sales that can be profitable, a Soule or a Huijsen or whatever, or Ealing Jr. Players that at the moment today we said we would love to see them at Juve, we would love to continue with them. But if you have your answers, why these players potentially could leave, hopefully not, but potentially could leave, because it's really difficult at the moment. And if we don't understand, if we are not aware of that, well, it will be too easy next year to blame a possible next coach, whoever it is, Thiago Motta or another, or still Allegri, to say, but look, we need to understand the situation, and taking it into context and into the discussion when we are blaming you for this, also understanding that there is that. Otherwise, we can't go for it. On the other side, Juventus is still working on that extremely young project. Not anymore 18, 19 players, but 16 years old players. Because yesterday in La Continassa, in Vinovo, in the Juventus training different centers, there was a young Dutch talent that is called Ruud, not Van Nistelrooy, but Ruud Nijstad, 16 years old, from the club Twente in Holland, in the Netherlands, that was yesterday there to visit, because Juventus wants to anticipate doing a kind of Huijsen situation, which is really great. A positive impact on the player, then he will decide if yes or no he wants to join Juve. At least Juventus was again extremely fast in anticipating everyone to invite him, then he will decide if yes or no he has been convinced. Good one. The only thing that I'm asking myself is, how many defenders are we signing? How many defenders are joining Juve? And okay, they are all young and great and fantastic, but how many defenders will we have in the future? I have no idea. Now we go to the last part. Juve meno Allegri. Juventus less Allegri. You know that Allegri means joyful, less joyful. You see the picture with Giuntoli and Allegri next to each other. The crisis in the Serie A is actually launching again the dilemma of the coach, with the supporters that are extremely divided, or it's left or it's right, or it's black or it's white, or it's in or it's out. There is no middle way. At the moment, it's extremely difficult to speak about Juventus, because whatever you say, whatever you try to explain, whatever you try to speak about Juventus, people will point finger. Yesterday, some people were starting to insult me, even here on my channel, in my home. They were starting to insult me because they are not happy, because they don't hear what they want to hear. But anyway, it will continue like that until the end of the season. What is the situation according to Tuttosport? Well, we don't really know. There is Giuntoli and management that wants to continue to give trust to Allegri, also for the future. On the other side, they are waiting before giving him his renewal. On the other side, they are also saying Max Allegri would love to have his renewal as soon as possible. On the other side, he didn't decide that if he wants to continue longer term, yes or no. There is trust, but also patience from one side to the other side. It's really strange, because it's everything and nothing. I don't really understand. And why do I don't understand that one source is telling you he will leave for sure, he will not continue, even close friends from him, and then the other close friends or other sources are telling you he will continue? Because I believe that at the moment a decision has not been taken, because I believe that they want to finish this season hoping for the best and trying everything this season to get the best out of it, even if it's not anymore the Scudetto, to then decide together, what do you want to do? What do we want to do? And then taking a decision to understand it. So all the talks that we have at the moment, yes, of course, it's frustration that we are putting out or we are trying to defend, but it will not help or change a lot. On the other side, we need to wake up. We need to go back. As I told you yesterday, we need to finish the season, because I told you, hey, the Champions League yet is not sure. It's not mathematical. We threw away a lot of gap points, a lot of points in benefit of over the fifth one that is now only at -9 with 13 games to play. So a disaster can be there around the corner, and that's why all the team and Max Allegri, they kept discussions with, we need to go back, we need to focus, we need to understand that the season is not over yet. You remember, I warned you immediately after the losses against Udinese and the losses against Verona. I told you my danger is if we believe mentally, because we lost the Scudetto, that the season is over, it can be extremely painful for the remaining part of the season. And it's not that we are already in April, already in May. No, we are still in February. So pay attention to these kind of things. Because in Gazzetta dello Sport, they are also putting Voglia di Champions. They will to participate to Champions League. For who? For Motta and Gasperini. There are 4 spots, maybe 5, but 4 spots, sure. Inter will have one. Then there is at the moment a fight between Milan and Juve, or Juve and Milan. And then there are 2 other teams that are pushing, Atalanta and Bologna. If both of them qualify, there is a problem, huh? Because that means or Milan or Juve will get out of it. And that can't happen. That can't happen. What about Thiago Motta for the future? At the moment, he didn't decide yet. One thing is sure, he will not go to Napoli. Napoli, total disaster, by the way. They sacked Mazzarri. They took a new one. I don't want to speak about Napoli. Disaster. But on the other side, he will not go there because he is a coach, like his agent, a lawyer, said. He's a man that loves project. He wants to participate to a rebuild of the team, and he wants also to be involved in decisions, not just being there, that's the team, and coach and do it. Now, Napoli, we know it, that's the team. They are never involved. Juventus is also a kind of team where the coach is not that much involved in the decisions that are taken. Will Thiago Motta, if an offer arrives from Juve, accept or not? Let's see. A bit too early now because he's focused on Bologna, where they are doing the record points in the era of the 3 points with Bologna. They never did that great. We will see. We'll try to monitor the situation. Grazie for following the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve.